set. Okay, I'd like to open the Water Sewer Commissioners meeting, May 1st at 7:05. Members present are Pete Flanias, myself down here, Bob Jones, Assistant Manager. And just to take a minute and go around and introduce
Roger Maniac.
Roger Maniac.
Tim Barlow, head typically.
Joe Bolte.
Okay, thank you. First on the agenda, we have representative from Socal Hall here. I'd like to discuss a few situation. So turn it over to you, Roger.
Okay, we're in the process of having to put in a sprinkler system. We've got 3 companies that have come in and did all the research that they needed. One of them come up with an engineer, took all the measurements that they're going to need. And we're still waiting for the bids to come in, but we're not sure where the water department comes into this project, and we're just trying to get some information as to what we need to do or what the town has to do to hook up, whether the town does a hookup or do we go out and get somebody to do the hookups. And we were told the pipe had to be 6 inches. I'm not sure. I know there's a 2-inch pipe for the main, for the water, the regular water.
Yeah.
Can't use that, huh?
Yeah, I know. I had spoke to Randy about that. I said, geez, that's kind of, I wasn't too familiar with the whole sprinkler system. I said, sounds funny. You have to have, some of the water mains in town are 6 inches. You need to have a 6-inch main going to a small building like that just for a 1-inch pipe, whatever the size the sprinkler system is. 1.5 inch, 2 inch?
2 inch.
2 inch.
2 inch.
So it seems kind of an overkill, but that's the state.
Well, I see 6 inches. If that ever goes off, everything will be floating down the street.
Yeah.
You better have rafts available.
Yeah. It seems like an overkill to me, but unfortunately, I think that's what I had talked
That's
to Bob
typical.
about.
Yeah.
So,
Is that because of the pressure that's got to go through?
The volume.
The volume.
Yeah, you need the volume because you got a 1-inch
Quick.
pipe, but it's a bunch of different
Yeah.
branches off of it. So you need an engineer to tell you what size you need. They do all the math and know how much flow can go through it.
And it had to be a charge system. It had to be hooked up to the water system. They wouldn't let you do a dry system.
Well,
What-
you'd still have to be hooked up to the system. A dry system is only you got water coming up to a certain point, and then you have like a check valve, and you put air on the other side. So you use compressed air on the side where the heads are, and that's only so that you can not have to heat it.
Oh.
So a dry system is just it's compressed air, and when a head goes off, that releases the pressure, and then the water opens up.
All right.
The water line still has to be there to feed
It
it.
does,
So a dry system is just
I
so
didn't
you
know
don't
if
have
they
to
could do
heat.
steamer nozzles and it's in, and then you just hook
Yeah.
up to that.
No, you gotta. No, a dry system is just it's a fully functioning system. It's just that you charge where all the heads are with air,
Yeah.
so that you don't have to worry about it freezing
Yeah.
if you don't keep the building heated. But you were going with a wet system, right?
Well, we're getting,
Prices
we've
both
gotten
ways?
both ways. If we go with the water system, then we've got to put heat up in the ceiling
Right.
over the bar.
over that, yeah.
There's no installation of anything up there. So we would have to run heat. So the other company that came in, he says, well, rather than do that, just put in the
Dry
system in the whole place. And then you don't have to worry about having some dry, some wet. So we're waiting to see what they come up
Do
with.
that. Now you have to do it in the bar area as well. You have to do
Yeah.
it both sides.
Yeah.
I think it sounds a little overkill, but
Typically, once they make you sprinkle, they make you do the whole thing.
Right now, we just completed a smoke detector system. It's all hooked up.
yeah.
Just seemed kind of foolish that we had to do that, and now we gotta put a sprinkler system in.
I know. It's one of those things. It's one of those unfunded mandates. Nobody likes them on the town side, but then the town pushes them onto the business side. So it's really, they don't like it when it happens to the unfunded mandates with everybody's budget. Well, they got to think of everybody's budget on the business side as well. And the other thing that upsets me with all this stuff like that, especially a small place like Socal Hall, is they don't even. They say do as I say, not as I do. The town hall's not sprinkled, the senior center's not sprinkled, so and
Yeah.
I think the town previously always has worked with them because I knew that and that was the situation.
Now, how can they get away with something like that?
I don't know. That's, you know, it upsets me to think that they're coming up. I understand that, you know, they have guidelines they follow, but I think that they all also can work with the businesses to help them keep along, because if they don't work with them, they go out of business. Well, they leave, they go somewhere else.
You know, that's possible.
Yeah.
It's tough. It's a tough situation. You know, it's expensive.
Yes, it is very
It's
expensive.
very
yes.
expensive. So that's why we're trying to get as many bids as we can, and you know, what the town will be doing as far as hooking up. You get involved, or do we have to go out for someone else?
So do you know where the main runs up into from the main in the street up? You know where it runs? Was it run right in the driveway?
I think it goes right up. To
Well,
the,
they would put it going up the driveway.
Yeah.
Right, but where's the 2-inch main?
It's in the driveway
It's
as well,
in the
but it's
driveway.
kind of more the center of the driveway. I'd stick to the right side of the driveway with the 6-inch. Yeah, I already went up there and looked at it.
Yeah.
No, will they run that right up that same area with the 2 inches?
They'd probably be off to the right,
Yeah.
like on the right side of the driveway, and shoot up and go, you know, where your little doorway is to go down
Yeah.
cellar, like to the right of that, and go in right there. So where you'd have to move your soda machines and stuff down cellar. But that's what I looked at was probably the best spot. And they'll have to encase it in concrete in the spot, because you're gonna cross your sewer line.
Yeah, that's up
Because
there.
the sewer line comes out of the middle of the building and it's on an angle, so it's shooting across. So it'll probably shoot from one side of the driveway to the other, basically, so. Where it crosses that, you have to encase it in concrete, just in case one breaks, or if they both break at the same time. You don't want those two mixing.
No.
So.
Joe, you have any questions?
No,
So we don't do you need a tap and sleeve for that. It'll be a 12x6 tap and sleeve, and we don't have the equipment to do that, so it would have to be, you'd have to hire someone to do that.
So we could get.
We would basically just inspect. You were gonna say?
We could get, typically Whitensville Water does.
Right.
We could get them to.
Whitensville, or there's another company. Who's the guy that you guys had? I forget the guy's name.
I can't remember, but I'll shoot it over.
But
to you.
I have it somewhere. But he does a lot of them too. They had the guy come in and tap the main up on
So Whitens
Wall
has
Street.
the equipment for all that.
Whitensville. Yeah, Whitensville Water has the equipment to do it as well.
RH White does too, don't they?
That is RH.
They would send.
Oh, that's,
Yeah.
oh. they-
Whitensville's owned by RH White.
Oh, all right.
RH White usually doesn't do the tap and sleeve stuff. They usually sub that out. They'll lay main and stuff, but
Yeah.
they would either have Whitensville come do the tap and sleeve, or they use the same guy you used to.
No, they'll just do that on the highway, then from the property line is up to us to get that dug out.
Yeah, we can't dig on private property, so you'd have to have somebody come and do that as well.
I mean, the Sokol, they're nonprofit, right? Okay. So I think it would be, and my recommendation would be, at this point, to maybe you could meet with Roger and go up and take a look at a few things, and then,
Yeah.
work to the fullest extent to try to facilitate everything as minimal expense as possible.
Yeah, I mean, I know there's some guys in town that use the facilities that that have some experience doing some of the stuff, so
Yeah.
could probably
So
talk to
it's
some
gonna
of
be
them.
nice. A little bit of help if it works.
Yeah.
And my only other question was, and only because I don't know, so once that 6-inch main, then do they put a water meter after that?
No meters on a fire.
No meters on fire protection. All right, yeah, I just wasn't sure on that. Okay,
They
I know that
they
the-
need a double check valve though,
yeah.
for a backflow preventer,
Yeah.
and then that would have to get tested once a year to make sure the backflow preventer's working.
Now, do you test that?
We sub it out, so
You
we
sub
have
it
a
out.
company that comes in and does it.
Okay.
That's what, it's 100,
50.
150, right?
It's 50.
Oh, it's 50 even.
Yeah.
Once a year on the, yeah, we do those once a year.
Back
On a fire line.
Yeah.
The RPs are twice a year.
Well, that's interesting, because one of the fellows, companies that did the dry system said that they had to be tested every 3 months. And that they do it, the ones that are putting it in.
Oh,
will
yeah.
help
That's-
and test that.
I think that he's saying that that's just a valve, right?
But
There's it's a double check valve, so you know what a check
Yeah.
valve, it stops
Yeah.
it from flowing back the other way.
So that has to be checked, and on top of that, the sprinkler system has got another set of checks, I think.
Yeah, I'm not sure what the requirements are on that, whether you have to have somebody come in and inspect those on a regular basis. I thought it was typically an annual inspection, but,
maybe it is.
yeah. The dry systems are a little different because now you gotta worry about a air compressor keeping that charged so it doesn't, you drop the pressure below, all of a sudden the water goes. So,
And everybody gets what?
Yeah,
Quick shower.
yeah. So I think, maybe just if you guys stay in communication and kind of work together, we'll, certainly facilitate as much as we can and accommodate as much as we can and, try to help this along.
Sounds like a plan. Thank you
All
for
right.
your time.
All right. Yeah.
Appreciate anything you can do.
Okay,
All right.
Thanks, Roger.
thank you.
thanks for coming in.
Have a good evening.
You too.
You
Take it
Take
easy,
care.
Roger. We'll see you, Joe.
See it.
Take care, John.
All right.
Okay. what do we have?
Okay, so,
Village.
Yeah.
yeah,
North
North Village. Yeah, we wanted to, just, couple issues we needed to kick around with you guys. Number one is the connection fees on the affordables. Under, Colin probably remembers the project more than anybody else because he was on the ZBA when we started.
Yeah, I remember that. That's a long time ago.
many years ago.
Yeah.
But we did it as a what's called a local initiative project, unlike a regular 40B where you basically, the town doesn't have too much say. The local initiative project is a negotiation between the town and the developer, and we give some stuff, and the town was supported the project and does some things to support it. So one of the issues, or one of the things that the town agreed to do, we agreed to do a number of things, including conveying the water tower parcel. But one of the things the town agreed to do was to provide a waiver of fees for the affordables, for building permits and water sewer connections. So we have 31 affordable, 124 units and 31 affordables. And we can build so many market rate units before we need to build affordables, but fortunately the sales have been going well, so we're getting to the point we're going to do the lottery on the affordables. We have to have a lottery to pick people who are eligible, so we're going to do that next week, I think. And so then we'll be conveying affordables. So we wanted to just make sure we're still on the same page in terms of the sewer connection fees. Right now we're paying $7,500, I guess, for water sewer, and that's the standard fee, right, for the
Yeah,
That's for the
For the
water.
town.
rights.
yeah.
yeah. So, based on the 93 market rate units that we'll have, the town's going to get $697,000 from connection fees for the market rate. So, the affordables, we have to sell at a discount. The market rates, we can sell at whatever the market is, and
Right.
it's above 300 at this point. The affordables the price is set by the state, and it's $183,000. So, basically we're just barely breaking even to build them. So, any breaks we can get in terms of cutting costs is important in terms of making the project viable. So we just wanted to make sure we're on the same page with the.
Do you have a
Commissioners on that.
copy of, back from when that was discussed, or is there a letter?
Well, I have. Well, it's in the permit, and I made copies of the permit, or I made copies of the relevant portions of the permit.
Okay. And did you have was there any meeting minutes or any letters from the water department at that time discussing the fees or anything like that?
Well, we had a lot of discussions with the water department, but I think in terms
Regarding
of
the fees, though, I think is what we're,
yeah, I think it was part. Well, it was part of the MOU that was attached to the comp permit.
Okay.
So it was done as part of that, and in that, the water and sewer department was involved because some of the issues were the water sewer issues at the time.
Right, right.
So,
So if you could, I think, provide us something, or we could look in our records at some sort of a discussion on that, if it was discussed about the fees,
well, but it's in the permit.
okay, about reducing the fees?
Yes, yeah, a waiver of the fees.
I don't.
It's
I don't
stated,
read it that way though. I read it as no waivers are granted from permit or inspection fees, except for oh, all right. Now that I read it out loud. Except for building permit fees and municipal water and sewer connection fees for affordable units as provided in the amended MOU.
Have to go through and kind of refresh ourselves on all this, I think. I just would like to see if it was discussed with the the water department at that time. Like if it was, like how did that get, was it a discussion that was had with yourself or a representative that, with somebody from the water department that was discussing the fees?
well, yeah, I think it was I don't remember exactly, but I know that we had extensive discussions with the water sewer commissioners about the project. I mean, the whole thing with the water tower and
Yeah, I remember all the discussions, but I
booster
don't remember
pump.
the whole,
Yeah.
I mean, it's been so long, I
Yeah.
have to look back and.
And it was and as you recall, we did an MOU with the town, a memorandum of understanding,
Yeah.
which got attached to the comp permit. And it's also mentioned in the MOU,
Mhm.
and that's outlined. I think I made a copy of that section of it
Mm-hmm.
as well. So,
Alright, yeah, I'll look at the MOU.
Yeah, okay, so we'll, I think the best approach is that, I mean, I won't be able to give you an answer now, but I think Bob can look into exactly what transpired, any discussions, and if he has any information on what was discussed or agreed upon at the time. And then whatever it is, we'll honor whatever it was.
yeah, well.
So if it's
again,
there,
yeah, I mean, I think
That's
that-
yeah,
fantastic.
it is what it is.
Yeah. So, and the other issue that we've talked a little bit with Bob about is in terms of the booster pump for the project is one of the things that we went around on when we got the thing approved was the water pressure in North Street, and the fact that it was it's lower than
That's
other
right.
parts of town.
Yeah, higher elevation.
Yeah, so what we had agreed upon, what the solution to that was, or the resolution of that was, we agreed to provide the land for the water tower in terms of the potential development of the industrial area, and to do that, and in the event that and we were going to provide a monetary consideration if the town built the water tower before we ended up constructing the project. And if we didn't, then we would put in a booster pump in order to increase the PSI and the gallons per minute. So because when they did the testing, when they did the hydrant testing of the town, the hydrant pressures up on Pond Street, were I think 400 gallons per minute, and that's basically what we get because we got the 8-inch line. So we're ready to do the booster pump. The problem is it's coming off of the 8-inch line that you have up there. And I guess there's some issues in terms of being able to provide enough flow off of the 8-inch, or what the impact would be on the rest of the line.
Yeah, I don't know, I didn't hear any of that
So-
yet. Was that from your engineers?
No, that was, I understood that you had that conversation with the guy that we had designing the pump, the guy from Mammoth.
I didn't have any,
You didn't
Conversation
talk
with
to
him yet.
you didn't talk to him at all?
no.
Well, he said he did.
Yeah, Gary Robideau from Mammoth Fire Protection.
I don't know, I didn't.
But anyhow,
Anyways.
there's an issue with
We
flow.
initially we were talking to Stantec because Stantec
Right.
was
We kind of
Was-
stole your engineer because.
was our
Stantec
engineer
bought
when we
FST.
Yeah,
was our engineer when we did the project,
Yeah.
and they're the ones who came up with the concept of going from a 3 or 4 unit building down to the duplex and separating them by at least
I
31
remember,
feet.
I remember that now, there was, and it was all to do with the fire flows.
Is all
Yeah.
the fire
Right,
flows,
yeah.
right? Because that's the same. That is the same requirement that you would have for, say, the houses on Pond Street. If you're between 31 and 100 feet, you need the 750
Yep.
gallons per minute at 20 psi. So that's how that design came about, and with their recommendation. So we went back to Stantec on the booster pump in terms of designing it, and I guess you had conversation with them, and there were some concerns about having them do work for us while they do work for you. And it seems like it would make sense to use the same engineer.
I would agree, I mean, but they did buy, they bought out the company that,
Right, so
FST.
we always
Oh,
use
they bought out
FST.
FST?
Yeah.
Yeah, they
Oh,
bought
that's
out
what
FST.
happened.
Yeah,
That's how
Stantec
it
Yeah.
bought FST.
Yeah.
yeah.
The concern is that, they may favor you or they may favor us, so they worry about a
I
conflict.
mean, but it's just it's an engineering issue. I mean,
Right.
I don't think it's a.
I mean-
I know there's a tendency to feel that it's you got to have your own engineer and it's adversarial,
Yeah.
but it's really just coming up with the solution that works.
Yeah, well, I think their concern is that we would have our water engineers review whatever plans you brought in. So if they're designing it and then reviewing it for us,
The
You know what I
but the problem with that is that your engineer knows the system, and because again we were
Right.
talking to this guy from Mammoth, and he said, well, I need more information about what's available and what's in there, and so that's the problem. If we just had
I know the one,
if we had one, I mean, and we could have the guy from Mammoth design it, but he needs to interact with the guy from Stantec, I
Right.
think, to get the information. And whether it makes sense, where the pump should be located, and how we should
well, that
do it.
was,
And then the other issue is, what's the town's plan for, providing water? Because I think when we did this originally, there was the thought was you're going to put a 12-inch main up North Street.
at some point, that's the plan.
That was with the industrial,
Yeah, that's,
The industrial loop
Yeah,
and with a water tower,
yeah. I think your project, I believe, I thought that was already taken care of as far as where they did all the engineering for flows and what you had to be done and
Right.
all that, so I guess I'm losing you where you're saying that they've gotta go back and redesign something that they won't meet the flow.
Well, we have the same flows that right now with the hydrants that they have on Pond Street, right?
I remember they did the flow tests and the pressure and all that, how many
Right.
gallons, and they come up with a
And we
plan.
we can put a booster in to
Right.
get the required flows.
right, the concern is
So
that we have a smaller pipe feeding their bigger pipe. So even with a booster pump, now you're pulling the pressure out of the main line going up North Street.
Okay.
So if that fire pump kicks on, and, well, you're using it for pressure as well, so it's gonna be an operation, it's not,
Well, we
not
don't.
just for fire flow. is
No,
it?
no, we only need it for fire.
Just
We have
for
it. There's
fire.
Just for
enough
fire
pressure.
flow, so the
There's
pressure-
enough
Yeah,
pressure.
there's enough pressure, enough water
There's
for
enough pressure,
domestic.
enough water.
So
It's
then,
just for fire.
in the event of an emergency, you kinda throw the rules out. So if there's a big fire in there, that's mine.
And you turn it on.
It turns on,
Right.
it kind of, you throw the rules out the window and you take care of the emergency and deal with it after.
Right.
So it's not as big of a concern if you're not using it. Like sometimes systems use it to boost the pressure for the subdivision to begin with. So if it's constantly running to keep your pressure up, you know, if you have a big usage in that area and the pumps turn on and it pulls too much, you decrease the pressure in the main going up North Street. So that's the concern there.
Right.
But if you're only using it for fire flows, they consider fire flows an emergency situation. So if they're using it to put out a fire, and you kind of throw those rules out the window where you're decreasing the pressure in the main going up North Street.
Right.
So I don't see that as big of a concern. I know originally, I wasn't here when this project got approved either, so
Right.
I had looked at it afterwards, and I had some discussions with our engineers when it was FST, which is now Stantec. So I don't know if they have the same concerns, but you know, when it was FST, they were saying, "Well, what are you doing letting them put it up there? They should be putting that further down North Street so that you're getting the pressure going up North Street, and you're not pulling as far, trying to pull that and decreasing the pressure in the pipe." But I was like, well, it already got approved, so there's nothing I can do about it. But you know, they were recommended to move the booster station down this way on North Street. So I don't know if that's where some of the concern came from after the fact.
I'm not sure. I guess I'm hearing a lot of the secondhand, but I mean, we're prepared to put the booster pump in.
Right.
We don't have a problem with doing that,
Yeah.
and we just want to make sure that that's what you guys want, and that makes sense.
Yeah.
I mean, I think if you upgrade the 12-inch line, we wouldn't need it. There'd be enough flows anyways. But and I know that it was one of your unfunded things on your
It
budget,
is,
right?
yeah. I got 2 other lines that we got to do before that one. So
That's on actually it's on the capital projects too. To
yeah,
increase
I've
that.
had it
And
on
then
capital for 6 or 7 years to
Right.
do that line, but we got to
Well-
For the
we
fire.
got to do this line coming down here, and we're gonna do a portion of that coming across the bridge when they do this work over here
Right.
that they're
Yeah,
doing.
yeah, I heard that.
So we'll get a section of that done, and that would be a step in the right direction towards moving towards your project. But
Okay.
I don't see it soon enough to make it where you guys wouldn't have to put the booster station.
Okay. Again, we're fine putting it in.
I'd prefer it not to have another booster station up there. It's just
Right.
benefits everyone. Just more
Right.
moving parts is more problems. But
Yeah.
but unfortunately, we're not moving that quick.
Well, I mean, I guess on the positive note, what we'd provide in hookups would pay for the upgrade of the line.
Put money towards that, yeah.
Because your budget says it's $675 to bring it up there, and,
Fine, yeah.
and you get $695 in hookup fees. So, I mean, the money's there, and
Yeah, well, it's not there yet.
it's not there yet.
Unless you wanted to
but- right.
prepay all the,
Right.
the connection fees.
Well, we give you the money for the booster.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Because I mean, that was if you'd put in the water tower, we
Yeah.
would have given you the money for the booster.
I guess
So we don't-
what was the outcome?
we
You
don't care.
had looked into that about putting in the water tower, and there was something to do with the turnover. And
Oh yeah, we don't have enough usage right now.
to make
The
sense
state
to do.
requires you to be less than 5 days storage, and we have 5 days storage, so we can't go any more storage than we have unless we found a bunch more use.
Okay.
So we would have to increase the usage by a ton in order to put a tank up there now.
Right.
Otherwise, the water just sits there and gets
It just
stagnant
sit
and
there. Right.
turns to
Right.
terrible quality. So
Yeah.
unless it was a strictly for fire protection,
Right.
But then at night that's a whole separate system.
yeah, you got to run a separate line,
Yeah.
and
So which
Right.
is the kind of
altitude
Right.
valves, and all
damned
kinds
if
of
you do,
stuff.
damned if you
Right.
don't.
And you really don't need it until
Right.
you
Until they do
something
something.
happens up there and you have some big usage.
Yeah, so eventually, yeah, but not for a long time. You guys will be done that project before we get to that point.
So, yeah, I mean, again, we're happy to put in the booster pump. It would be helpful if we could just deal directly with Stantec and make sure that they're satisfied with what is going to go in there. And it seems like that's
I mean,
That
that
would be
we would have Stantec look at it. Once
Anyways.
you guys propose something, we're gonna have them review
Understood.
it anyway.
We would just prefer to use
Right, to use
Stantec.
Stantec.
Yeah, because they were, involved in the project from the beginning.
Right.
It makes the most sense to use one engineer.
and we'll
It
pay
would
for
cut
it.
costs
Yeah,
on
right.
a.
I mean, we have our representative from Stantec is Dennis. Dennis is actually retiring.
Yeah.
But he's still gonna be on for a consultant and stay on board for a while, so, and we could have a discussion with him on the project, and then he could kind of be, I know he still works with Stantec, but
Yeah.
he always represented, our side of it.
Yeah,
And then meet whoever the engineer is with Stantec on that side, making sure,
yeah.
everybody's agreeable on the whole front for both sides.
I'm pretty sure the guy from Mammoth is good friends with one of the guys at Stantec.
Really?
I believe so.
So, yeah, I mean, we just need to coordinate it.
Yeah, I have no problem.
Yeah, I'll
with
give
that. I
Dennis a
mean,
call.
It seems redundant to have, another engineering company come in. and do it.
Absolutely, and then they're gonna talk and nothing
Right,
gets
yeah.
solved. It's better to have it in one shop and,
I understand that whole,
Yeah.
and it goes around and you get another engineer and he's got a different idea, and this one's got
Exactly.
a different, everybody, the outcome's the same on all the
Exactly.
ideas, but they all have different ideas how to get
and a
there.
different route.
Right,
Right.
so. So I guess we leave it at, you can talk with
Yeah, I'll
Dennis.
give Dennis a call and then
And
get
then-
on
Yeah.
one of you.
Okay,
You guys
yeah,
can
if we could
communicate.
get this, again, if we get it resolved in the
Yeah.
next
Okay,
short period.
excellent.
That'd be great. Yeah,
All right.
good.
And I
Okay.
believe you got a 12-inch line up there, just so you know. Your line in your road is 12.
Yes,
Our
it
line
is.
is,
Our
yeah.
line is,
Our
our
line.
line is 8, and
Right.
it goes into your
Yeah.
12
Right.
Yeah, we did 12, anticipating that the
eventually.
12-inch
yeah.
line eventually is gonna go by.
I think that, yeah, that was one of the things that was in the permit, the 12-inch line, I think.
Okay, great.
Very good.
Thank you, Jim.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We'll see you. Thanks for calling.
Thanks, Keith.
Keith, thank you.
That's it.
Thanks, Paul.
Let's see, normally we'll skip over meeting minutes and then just go to the systems manager, water sewer reports.
All right, monthly water report. Let's see, for the month of April, we pumped 4.865 million gallons for an average of 156,000 a day. All the sampling results were good for the month. We're in the process of doing valve exercising still. We replaced 11 meters, did 3 final reads. We installed the new sampling sink at Primary. They're continuing to preparing the floor, filling the cracks and holes and everything at Primary to get the new epoxy coating down. They pumped out the PRV pits. We had a leak detection survey done. We haven't received the report on that yet, but I think it was pretty good. They only had the one that we kind of heard over on Gilboa Street. They said it sounded like one of the hydrants were leaking, but otherwise I think we're pretty tight. We dealt with all the leaks over the end of the winter.
Yeah, yeah.
That's it for that. You guys have any questions on the water?
I did stop at the primary and they were getting the floors, filling the cracks. That looks pretty good.
Look at that. It's starting to look good.
Yeah.
So
Everything done.
hopefully it'll look good once we get the coating down. I figured if we're gonna do it, we'll do it right, and
Yeah,
hopefully that'll last a long time.
Yeah.
It's an old building, so.
Yeah, they only used to just paint that floor. Used to just paint the floor, that was
Yeah,
it.
I know. That's why you got 3 different colors all
Yeah.
peeling up in different spots, and
Yeah.
half the floor doesn't have anything left on it.
I painted the red. It was painted.
must've been left over from hydrants.
Huh? No,
Left over
actually,
red
they
paint.
use that good paint, that
Yeah,
Chesterton
it
paint.
was like a
It's like
burgundy
$50
color.
a gallon
Yeah.
back then, yeah.
I'm not now. Monthly sewer report. We had 6.11 inches of rain. Synagro hauled off 89,100 gallons. We had a flow of 6.8 million gallons for an average of 229,000 a day. Wasted 109,000 for an average of 3,600 a day. We used 783 gallons of alum, 722 gallons of sodium hydroxide, and 332 kilowatt hours of electricity. The river flow average was 393.741 cubic feet per second. They completed the second quarter toxicity testing. The annual lab calibration of equipment was performed. The back pressure devices for the alum system had new diaphragms and springs installed. the grid system had new gasket installed as well as an oil change, and he also replaced the mechanical seal on that. And that's all we got for the sewer. Questions on that? You guys want to do your meeting minutes?
Yeah, let's take a quick glance through here. Let's see. How many months do we have here? We have just March?
Just
Yeah,
the-
just the two.
Just the two, I believe.
No,
it was-
those were both like
They were
budget
both
meetings.
the budget
Oh, March,
meetings.
okay.
And
So,
That was pretty straightforward. Then.
yeah,
yeah.
you good, I'll make a motion.
Yeah.
I'll make a motion that we accept the meeting minutes from March 20th, 2018 and March 27th, 2018.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. All right. So next we have what's in next on the minutes. Reports. Budget. How are we making out with the?
And I didn't really have time to go through this since today's
Okay.
the first, and
Okay.
it was tough enough getting all the information for the reports to have it for the meeting.
So what was the outcome on salaries on the COLAs and all that?
They went to 1.75%.
1.75 on COLA.
Yeah, and steps. That was at the town. So I left it budget-wise, but we haven't finalized anything down here. So we still gotta go through and do the individual people, so.
Yeah. So 1.75 and then steps, so that puts it close to almost, I think, but close to, it's about 2 or 3, almost pushing 4%.
Yeah,
Which, I mean, I agree that we can't penalize any non-union employees. I think that we should follow suit with whatever's done, but I don't understand how the fact that they're talking about such financial hardships and overrides and yet, you know, salary increases of 4%. To me, it's kind of, if things are that tight, you know, in the real world, you know, there's no salary increases. So I don't know, that's, I guess, a topic for another day, but.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying. I've always had an issue with how the salaries and the steps and all that stuff happen here to begin with. you
Yeah.
know. They just, selectmen vote on it, whether or not they give steps or whether they do or they don't. And then they set the COLA. I'm not sure how they set the COLA. When I was out in industry, it was, you went by the consumer price index.
Right, for this region.
Exactly.
I've asked that, and
And
they,
that sets your COLA.
right,
And then as for steps, it was based on performance.
Yeah.
Here it's, you get however many selectmen voting, they decide yes or no, but, and I know we can kind of stray from that a little down here, but I have an issue with having people that perform poorly
automatically.
getting a step because they say they got a step.
Yeah.
I think it should be, and I also have a problem with people that are overperforming. They go above and beyond for 5 years and they say no steps.
Right.
So they get nothing, and then finally, well, what am I going above and beyond for?
Right.
Then all of a sudden they say, oh, now we're giving steps, and you say, oh, well, you didn't do good this year, so you don't
Yeah,
get it.
yeah.
So,
Yeah.
so I mean, it's just, there's no rhyme or reason to,
Yeah,
performance.
Right.
Usually raises and stuff are based on your performance.
I just
They're
can't see.
Not done that
Yeah,
way. so.
I just can't see on a minimal, I mean, the town salaries is the largest part of the budget. So you're looking at I think it's like $15.5 million a year on salaries. So you add 4% to that, you're over 600,000 a year in salary increases, just in year one. And then that compounds because now year two, it's 600, whatever, then you get the 4% on top of the total of that, then it compounds the next year. So in 3 or 4 years, you're pushing 700,000 or better. I haven't done the math out, but
I understand that, but I don't control the budget up there.
I
So.
know. So I don't see how that they can say that, that this whole thing with we don't have a spending problem. That's the part that gets me. I understand we have a spending problem and a revenue problem, but until, I think they wrap their arms around the spending issue, we're always gonna have a revenue problem, because we're not gonna be able to keep pace with it. But, that's my 2 cents. So, I guess whatever, so those numbers, you haven't got down, that, finalized on that.
Yeah.
Let's see. Open session for topics not reasonably anticipated 40 hours in advance of the meeting.
I don't have one.
No, I think I had already mentioned it, but we're gonna be fixing the grass at a couple spots in town.
Yeah, I think they're actually doing that now.
Yeah, I've seen that, yeah. Getting the entranceway cleaned up.
Well, yeah, I told them to fix that section that's coming down the driveway because it keeps washing out on us.
Yeah.
We don't get the grass to grow, so they were doing hydro seeding at some of the other spots
Yeah.
that we did repairs in. And I said, well, can you just do this section here so we can avoid the rain washing it? Because it washes out right along the pavement, so now it's undermined and the pavement starts to crack. So, so I told them to just fix that while they were here. And I just saw them out there when I
Oh,
was
so they were doing that today.
Yeah.
Oh. See, look at that. Couldn't get the hydrants painted that fast.
Yeah.
Alright, so, anything else?
That's all I got.
That's all I've got.
If not, entertain a motion to adjourn.
Okay, I make a motion that we adjourn the meeting at 8:46 p.m.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
8:46 or 7:46?
Seven.
I'm sorry, 7:46.